Atalanta 0, Liverpool 1. So we win the game, but we go out of the Europa League. We couldn't come back from, that disappointment and poor performance in the first leg, and that's where all the damage was done. But you know what? We're Liverpool fans. You've got to give credit where it's due. Atalanta were full value for the win across the two legs. So let's get into the game. So the first half started great. We've been slow starters this season, conceding the first goal far too many times, but we flew out the blocks today, which was exactly what we needed. And really, we put Atalanta to the sword for almost the entirety of the first half. They had a couple of breaks, but apart from that, and there was something very, very apparent and very different from the first leg. We were interchanging all over the pitch, and it was quite remarkable to watch the front three, which were changing positions, and with Salah and Diaz were swapping wings. The midfield three were swapping positions, and even Andy Robertson a couple of times was running into the box, almost in the number 9 position. So it was working, because Atalanta, who, I said it last time, they have this rigid formation, and if you allowed them to have that rigid formation, they're very, very good at it. But they couldn't cope. They couldn't cope with the movement, the running, and to be honest, the only disappointment in the first half was all we had to show for it was Mo Salah's penalty. Once again, we missed a few very, very good chances, including one that, for a man of Salah's ability, was a sitter. I mean, he should have buried it. The keeper committed himself, was nowhere. Similar to the Darwin Núñez chance in the first leg, but this was, if anything, it was easier. The keeper sort of came out and froze, and all Mo had to do was lift it over him, and he put it wide with his left foot. And that was the big moment, I think, because 2-0, that would have really, really, really had them worried. They were nervous in that first half. You could see it, you could sense it. The crowd was nervous, and we were full value for going in at half time 1-0. So we come over the second half fully expecting to continue the way we did in the first, but two things changed. First of all, their manager drilled into them that discipline that they had lost. Get back to your structured, rigid, man-marking type of system, which they did much better. But the key to it was that we couldn't keep up the pace and the energy of the first half, and so we got ragged. The interchanging had now gone. Everyone was kind of reverted to type as to where they normally play. That made Atalanta's job so much easier, and as a result, they actually outperformed us in the second half. I mean, the first half we had 8 shots and 3 on target. In the second half we had 2 shots and 2 on target. In the first half, Atalanta had 1 shot with none on target. In the second half, they had 7 shots to our 2, and they had 2 on target in the second half, and they looked more likely to score. And we ran out of energy, we ran out of ideas. Jurgen brought on Darwin, Jota, and Elliott, who I thought were the subs that he should bring on, that could make a big difference going into the last 25 minutes, and it just didn't work. None of them had any type of impact at all. Jota looked miles off it. Darwin Núñez continued his current run of poor form, and even Harvey Elliott, who so often does have an impact as a sub, really didn't. And the whole team just ran out of steam in the second half. So why did that happen? Why were we so poor in the first leg? Why have we been so poor in general recently, including the Crystal Palace game? And then why were we much better today for 45 minutes and then ran out of ideas and energy in the second half? I put it all down to one thing, that we went through a large part of the season, especially leading up to the last few games, without Alisson, Trent, Konate, Andy Robbo, Szoboszlai, Curtis Jones and Mo Salah. All of them had at least medium term and most of them longer term injuries, and they've all come back at the same time. While they were out, we had them supplemented by Kelleher, Conor Bradley, Kwanzaa, Joe Gomez, Harvey Elliott, who was playing more game time back then, Endo and Jota, while Mo Salah was away at AFCON and before he got injured as well. So what's happened is 7 of our critical players, 7 of our, I think you would call most of them top class, several of them world class, have all come back at the same time. And a lot of the kids and those other players I just mentioned have sort of lost their place to the big players, if you like. And none of them are match fit. None of them. The touch is off. I mean, you could see it in the Crystal Palace game. Trent's radar was completely off. Much better today for 45 minutes. Curtis Jones, better today in the first half. Konate, better today in the first half. Andy Robertson, his form has been getting back. He's been back about 4 or 5 games now. He was being eased in and he's gotten better with each game. But all 7 of them have been out and all 7 of them have come back. And it's just disrupted everything. Not because they're not great players, they are. But none of them are match fit. And so it was great to see in the first half today that they were on it. And you could see the talent that we had out there. But couldn't keep it up. Because they haven't had enough game time. And so in the second half, it just went flat. They couldn't run anymore. They couldn't give that energy needed for that last push in the second half. So that's what I believe has happened over the last couple of weeks. Looking at it from a glass half full perspective here, we go into these league games now with almost a full squad. We've got 5 forwards now, all back, available. We've got our midfielders, the likes of Szoboszlai and Jones, back, and they've got game time under the belt now. And they looked good today for 45 minutes. Much better that than having all these players still out. And some of the work that Trent did in the first half, some of his passing was an absolute joy. Some of the work Andy Robertson was doing in that first half was great. The interchanging was really, really effective. And if we can do that continually, if we can show that energy again continually over these next 6 games, then it gives me hope. Reading comments and people were saying that they think we're emotionally done, we're drained, it's the end of the season, it's been a long season, we've been in all these competitions and we're drained. I don't think it's that. I think it's what I just talked about. So anyway, on to the league. We've got 6 cup finals coming up and we've got almost a full squad. And we're a great team with great players, and there's no reason at all why we can't win these 6 games. Forget the fact that we've had a blip. This team can go on a 6-game run. It can. And we've got to believe that they will. They've got to believe that they will. I know Jurgen Klopp will believe that they will. They know nothing else matters now. No FA Cup, no Europa League. This is all that matters. 6 games. Let's go do it. Alright, go win them all, lads. You never walk alone. Ta-ra.